This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman and Riley Smith. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Today is Tuesday, August the 23rd, 2022. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up in today's show, I visited last week at the Iowa State Fair with Iowa Corn Growers Association President Lance Lillibridge, and we talked about the fertilizer situation and some of the conversations he's had with the topic, also with some investigators from the Trade Commission, and also talking with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst about what can be done, and even some of the talks they've had with the actual fertilizer companies themselves. We'll also take a look at your ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and we're turning to Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Boy, Jacob, it looked like someone lit a fire under those grain markets today. What are we seeing?
Oh, well, today was fireworks. It was a perfect result. You can really, sum this up in one way. The funds got involved today with a market that is expecting to see, what we said a couple months ago couldn't happen. We couldn't be on a lower production side than we are. And that's what we're starting to see in some of these, on-farm tours and reports. This pro farmer tour that we see going through there has always been pretty pivotal, very well followed. And they're coming up with some ugly numbers and some ugly cornfields. Now, I think we can all agree that they started in probably what should be the worst spot. And, the funds and just the outside investors, any that in a long position just really took a hold of this market today, and we're starting to see the results.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on that tour a couple times myself. That southeast South Dakota, usually, South Dakota's not known to be the breadbasket of the Corn Belt, but it does have some contribution. But it's always seemed like it's had the toughest crops, when we go through. But now you get into that, eastern Nebraska, and then we'll have western Iowa tomorrow. I mean, that's been some areas in the Corn Belt. I mean, that's where we've been taking the punishment this year.
I think they've received most of the attention this year. I think that most Twitter stories that you've seen, it doesn't show usually the big, nice, fancy crops. The ones we've seen earlier in the year have been, hey, this pollination was a problem. I think so. They put it better today. There's a big difference between a drought problem and a heat problem. There's two different things, and I think you've seen a little bit of both of those in that areas. Obviously, there will be some better. This is one of the better, more followed reports because they do a lot of work for it too. So I respect the tour. But I think we all know that it'll be, wait until see those combines roll through there. I mean, there was some zero pollinations and some zero spots. So there's always that problem every year. How widespread is it, and what does it do to our national average? So there's, the story's not told yet, but I think that it's at least hitting the airways. I think there's a little bit more belief in it that these, and also, we remember we took the good to excellent ratings down across all of the country too. So I think that had a little bit to add on to it. A couple of things to look for here today, Dustin, is we went up to the 662. If you look at the highs from the June of the December corn chart to the lows in August, 664 was what we would consider like our 50% retracement. So that's a pivotal number. We went up, touched it, backed off. We did the same thing yesterday in the soybeans in the general way in the November soybeans. And then today we went up to the 63% retracement. So if you're looking at something to make some sales on or something to some target areas right now, short term, those are good areas. You have been seeing a lot of basis opportunity go away. We did have a large commercial selling here overnight. If you heard, we had 50,000 contracts sold overnight. And that's a significant amount. It was what was out there. The orders that were working, and when it happened overnight, nobody had time to cancel them, so they got transacted today, last night.
All right, now going over to that livestock side of things, Jacob, what do we see today?
I would consider this a pretty disappointing trade in the hogs today. We saw the cash cutout in the AM report come out and lose $11 in the cutout. And that really weighed on the markets. We had a good recovery bounce going, and we ended up closing $3 lower than what our highs were. Still, so $3 off the highs. Not a good trade there. We've seen that that hog market have some pressure as of late, and we've tried to get a good recovery going today and just got really whacked, and so pushed that down quite a bit. Live cattle, I think the story's in the cash. We did get some rain across the southeast and across the whole southern plains. Some good rain. So you're going to see the culling situation continue to stop. We have some pasture, maybe some winter grazing opportunities. I will be curious to see what the Packers do, because our kills have been pretty high, and I would be curious to see what the Packers end up doing. When they look at how their numbers are going to go and what their capacity change speed is going to be like. The next month or so. As we usually tend to build weights here, this culling situation is going to keep them more current. So we cleaned up closing 10 to 15 higher across the board in the cattle. Feeder cattle, really only $2 down, with the market being up 25 cents. I think I would consider that probably expected when we saw what the grains were doing.
All right. So if folks want to talk market strategies or get some more insight, how do they get in touch with you all at agmarket.net?
I think the first thing too is to go look at our agmarket.net website, sign up for our 30-day trial of our agmarket.net intel. You'll get tons of reports, some really good stuff. We do a couple webinars every week. We encourage you to look us up there. You can find each individual person on there on that website. But if you want to talk to me directly, 608-384-5438.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jacob. We'll talk to you again next week.
Have a good one, Dustin. Take care.
That again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Let's run down those closing numbers. That comes to us from the folks at Bar Chart.
September corn is up 26.5 at $6.60 even. December up 26 1/4 at $6.55 1/4. September soybeans up 39 3/4. That's at $15.66 3/4. November up 25 3/4 at $14.61 even. Soy meal up $10.90 at $431.70. Soy oil up 67 cents at $67.69. December Chicago wheat 12 1/4 higher, $8.50. Minneapolis up 11 1/2 at $9.12 even. Kansas wheat up 13 at $8.79. December oats up 18 1/2 at $4.08 even. October live cattle up a dime at $144.60. September feeders $1.90 lower at $182.45. Lean hogs down $1.07 at $92.90. Pork cutouts down $1.32 at $103.30. Class 3 milk down a penny at $20.08.
And that's been a check of our ag market recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, we talk to Lance Lillibridge of the Iowa Corn Growers Association. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, the fertilizer situation is not really a surprise to anybody the way things have been going the last year or so. I had a chance to talk with Iowa Corn Growers Association President Lance Lillibridge, and here's the discussion we had last week at the Iowa State Fair. Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network with Iowa Corn Growers Association President Lance Lillibridge of Vinton. Lance, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today.
You bet. Thanks a lot for having me.
So I understand, obviously we've been talking a lot this year about fertilizer, especially getting it for next year. And I understand you had a chance to have a meeting with the Trade Federation, Trade Commission there. Tell us a bit about how that went and how that came about.
Sure. So we got a call from the Federal Trade Commissioners that they were going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, and would like to visit with some corn farmers. So I attended the meeting. It went very well. There was 2 trade commissioners there. It was a bipartisan type meeting where there was parties from both sides of the aisle, and we had a lot of conversation about how fertilizer prices are affecting farmers and what the future looks like on that, and along with what kind of conduct we're seeing out there within the counties and in the states of how fertilizer is being sold and dealt with, and a lot of issues there.
So tell us a little bit about those things that you brought. Talk about the conduct you're seeing. Talk about the actual issues and the challenges you're having of getting it.
So one of the biggest challenges and frustrations that I face and many other farmers face is even getting a price for fertilizer. It's very difficult to plan for next year, and we need to be doing that now. And we can't even get a price for fertilizer. I contacted a retail location yesterday and asked for fertilizer prices, and they said, oh, well, we don't have those yet. Might not have them for a few weeks. So what I don't understand is, what are we waiting for?
Right.
You know, so that's a problem.
So I understand now, we were talking beforehand that you had a roundtable, Senator Ernst was there, you guys had a discussion on it. Obviously you can get some points there. I mean, what message were you able to give to her to take back?
Yeah, so the message that we gave to Senator Ernst was that we feel like there's an unfair marketplace. There's too much consolidation in the industry. When one company would control 80 to 90% of a product, we can't get a fair price. That was the biggest message that we sent that day.
Sounds almost like the cattle markets and the fights they've been having. So you had the trade commissioners there. What did they have to say in return about what you guys were bringing to them?
Well, the Federal Trade Commission is basically a law enforcement arm of trade, and they will not comment on anything that they're investigating, and they were very clear about that. So they were totally gathering intelligence, if you may, about our situation. And so if they're gathering intelligence, one could probably assume that they are investigating conduct and that type of thing with this situation with fertilizer.
Now, a lot of times we hear it, and it is convenient because of the fact that Russia and that region produce a lot of fertilizers, and they've been saying, oh, the war is causing problems. The problem is we weren't having a war last fall when all this started. Now, a lot of farmers, if they contracted ahead of time, they were okay, but now this year, you're not going to be so okay. I mean, what's that kind of message when you try to break through that whole rhetoric of, oh, it's the Russian war's problem?
Well, yeah, I think we all know that the problem came before the war. For the fertilizer company, though, it was like perfect timing. They had a place to blame the issue on, and you know, the war didn't help anything. There are some shipping issues and whatnot out of that region, but I'll tell you, the thing that probably hurts us the most is a 20% tariff on phosphate fertilizers. That's just totally uncalled for.
Yeah, exactly. What was the reasoning behind that, so people really understand why it was put on?
Well, the way it was explained to me is that certain companies were having a hard time competing in the domestic market. However, those companies want to participate in a global market. I'm not sure that those two things can go together and work for anybody. So
two different marketplaces.
Yeah.
And Iowa Corn has been heavily involved with talking to government officials, sending letters. Tell us a little bit about those activities.
Yeah, sure. So last December we were in St. Louis with National Corn Growers, and National Corn Growers has been really spearheading this whole thing, and there was about 17 or 18 presidents at the national level that signed a letter that went to the administration. Also a letter that went to fertilizer companies saying, hey, we're asking you to, not ask for tariffs and asking you to send a letter to get rid of the tariffs. And the response was not very nice. So we decided, okay, we're just going to keep pushing then. So that's what we did. And then on the state level, I've been very involved, especially after the Senator Ernst meeting, the roundtable meeting at our farm. We actually were able to engage with some fertilizer companies and have some conversations. I'm not sure that they're going anywhere, but for them to come to Iowa, then they're getting a message. They know that they need to do something.
You made sure your voices were at least heard, right?
Absolutely. Our voices were definitely heard, not only on a state level, but on a national level as well.
And before we wrap up, obviously we talked about the Russia thing, but also natural gas gets blamed a lot for this situation too. But tell us a little bit of how that really factors in.
That natural gas gets blamed a lot, and yes, it is probably one of the number one inputs into the fertilizer, especially UAN and urea anhydrous ammonia. But the thing is, it's only about 2% of what gets used domestically. So it's hard to understand how we can have a jump in natural gas prices that we did, but then in turn have a 300% and 400% increase in the finished product. The two things just don't align.
So when we're talking to the basic corn grower, basic member of the Iowa Corn Growers Association, what can they do to help the mission along?
Well, hey, the most important thing you can do is be involved in your commodity group, and I'll tell you that membership is a big deal for Iowa Corn and National Corn. The more members that we have, the larger the voice is that goes to Washington. If we can go and sit down with a congressman or woman, a senator, and say, we have X number of membership, this is a concern to these people, the bigger that number is, the better the message is heard.
All right, so if folks want to find out more about what they can do or look at membership in the Iowa Corn Growers if they're not already, where do they find that information, Lance?
Yeah, iowacorn.org is a great place to go. I'll tell you another great place to go too is go to your seed supplier and enter in the National Corn Growers Yield Contest. And when you do that, you'll get a membership to Iowa Corn.
All right. Well, Lance, thank you so much. And I got to ask before we go, how the crops looking out in your way?
Yeah, eastern Iowa is looking pretty good. I think we're kind of the garden spot of the Midwest right at the moment. Let's just hope that we keep some good weather and we can finish this thing off and have a decent harvest.
All right, and if you guys got any extra water laying around, I know people in the West would like you to ship some over in a tanker truck if you could.
We'll try to push it back that way. So.
All right, sounds good. That again was Iowa Corn Growers Association President Lance Lillibridge. Now let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, we had quite a few clouds in the sky here off and on throughout the day, but the sun is pushing its way through, and that's basically been the case across most of the state. Could see temperatures warm up just a little bit again. Let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours.
Well, most of the state started off with some clouds to start the day, and those clouds did push their way off and give way to more sunshine. And we saw those highs in the mid-80s across much of the state. Now, tonight, mostly clear, maybe partly cloudy in a few areas, and there's an isolated shower chance possible in the northwest. We'll see lows tonight from around 60 to 66. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies, a little warmer, chance of isolated showers in the north, and highs mostly in the 80s. Looking at the affiliate weather map, we see Cherokee will have sunny skies with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in 84. Waterloo also showers and thunderstorms possible, but mostly sunny skies and a high 86. Now Des Moines will be sunny in 89 in the hot spot tomorrow, while Shenandoah will be sunny in 88. Albia sunny in 86. Clinton will see sunny skies and 83 degrees.
For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate, and that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And like that, we've come to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on our TikTok page. And also don't forget to follow us on YouTube, where you can click the thumbs up, subscribe, and the bell icon, and you can get notified every time we post an episode of Ag Matters PM or any other video content. You can also catch our free twice daily market podcasts on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.